Before inviting our panelists onto the stage, let me take you to Trabzon, to Tonya, a small mountain village there, and let's see what we have done there.
My dream is to work in technology in the future, but until now I haven't had this chance. I hope with YGA it will happen. Hi, I'm Hayrettin. I'm a junior student in electrical engineering, and with YGA I became acquainted when they came to my school to do science workshops. I was already interested in technology, but nobody had guided me until then. At this point, YGA came to my school. I was introduced to science sets and I met Cihan Abi. I tried to understand how electronic devices were working, and I was able to discover the technology, underlying technology, thanks to these workshops. And for the first time, my interest was being appreciated by the people around me. The science mobility is for children that have limitless dreams but limited opportunities. It's possible to give them a scientific viewpoint at an early age, and this is going to enhance their uh, interest in science. With digital content and sets, it's possible to help them develop projects while solving problems. Science is produced somewhere anyway, but if I'm able to produce it with my own conscience, then the world can be a beautiful place, a better place. Welcome, Hakan, Mehmet, welcome. In each project on conscientious science, uh, we've had your contributions. Thank you very much. We know that in the coming summits we are going to have more high ratings, more role models that we will have raised. And once again, I'd like to extend my thanks for being with us today. My first question is for both of you. Hakan abi, let's start with you. In the science generation workshops, what we do is the following. After the earthquakes of the 6th of February, we focused on 11 cities that were affected by the earthquake, and we sent them the top technology, the state-of-the-art science sets, and we had our teachers uh, helping us with a healthy project that was sustainable, viable. We have more than 400,000 students that we have reached until now, and our goal is to reach more than 700,000 students. But thanks to your support, your teams, our teachers out there in the field, we've had really significant collective success until now. Now I'd like to hear from you why you attach importance to this partnership. Let me say a warm welcome to all the youth here. I'm saluting you, extending my affectionate feelings. And I'd like to start with the following point because Mehmet Toner's presentation here was really inspiring and I was deeply touched by it. He told the youth to shut their eyes and dream about their purpose and think about their goals. He gave them some time and then told them that perhaps what they were thinking of was not a purpose but a goal instead. When you shut your eyes, it's not something that you can really do. I wish that people would really be able to dream about their purpose and find it, capture it by shutting their eyes. I'd like to contribute by saying the following. When I became the general manager of İş Bankası, I was thinking to myself, what would be the main purpose of a general manager in a bank? And I did this exercise, and for 90 days, every night I shut my eyes, but that purpose was not really so easy to capture. At the end of that period, I decided to do something. This might be a hint for the youth. When my term is finished, when my term in office is finished, 6 years from now, 6 years from now, when my term is complete, how do I want to be remembered? about what I did in İş Bankası. What do I want people to think the general director did? And 6 years later, will I look back into today and write these down? Would it be possible to turn this into text? When I did this exercise, so in a way, trying to send a message from 6 years later to myself then, I saw that it was possible to write down a purpose now. So it's really key to have a purpose, and having an exercise like this will always be helpful to define that purpose in life as you're looking for it. Maybe, you can imagine yourself as an older person and try to give the answer to the question, what kind of a person was Hakan? And that might help you. One of the things that I thought about that day was the science workshops that we spoke about earlier. After the earthquake, the situation of the children in the earthquake zone was differentiated as compared to the children from the other regions. So we needed to present an opportunity to those children. It was really valuable to do so. Schools were not open, teachers were not teaching at school, and students were just playing games among containers. That's the period when we developed this project. And the most exciting part of the project is that children who didn't have an opportunity to go to school would now have the chance to find a project that might convert them to a scientist one day. And one thing we really care about is to be able to dream. And when you bring children with role models, then dreams come, and then they come true. We have lots of YGA volunteers who have helped primary school and secondary school children as their role models, giving them hope for the future. In this geography, one really feels happy about the time and money well spent, and that's the greatest, excitement for us, for Petrol Ofisi and YGA as well, because this was the main field where we cooperated. This is my second YGA summit, and seeing you here, saluting you here is a huge gratification for me. I'm proud to be here, and I'm feeling your positive energy from where I stand. And I'd like to thank everyone who's been instrumental in this, Sinan, Can, and the entire team. Heartfelt thanks to you all. My mentor was Sani Shener, and he is the one who introduced me to YGA. And as I was speaking with Sinan and Can about this project, they told me that İş Bankası was supporting this project through Hakan, my beloved friend, and I called the valuable general manager of İş Bankası, my previous project partner that I worked with before. I asked him, what do you think about this? What I want to highlight is Hakan was really modest. He said this was all about succeeding together. Mehmet, let us do this project together. Let's support it together and let's be in it together. Especially for the earthquake zone, we had many common goals with Hakan. İş Bankası is one of the best and most well-established organizations in Turkey, and our organization is also believing in the same sort of culture, and I could see that being together, it was possible to grow our ecosystem to much broader horizons. Unfortunately, organizations, institutions, and persons in Turkey sometimes avoid sharing a project. They want to take full ownership of it. But this was an example of growing the pie bigger for everyone to take a slice. And the focus area here, unfortunately, was unequal opportunities. As Lara discussed at the beginning of her speech, and this was something that excited us because there was something we could do about this unequal opportunities. So we needed to make sure that we would shed light through these science workshops and bring hope, just as it was the case in the video that you watched. And this helped many incredible ideas to rise. One of the projects that was most, profoundly effective for me was that two students, primary school students, developed something for their uh, c- classmates. It was a chair bed project for a classmate that they uh, built, which met the UN conditions. And when we asked them, what does your sick friend think about this? The two kids said it wouldn't be okay to disclose this information. Better, talk with that classmate. We cannot share with you any information before having our classmate tell us what she thinks about it. Success in life does not only come with IQ, it also requires EQ, it requires conscience. At that age, these children were so delicate, not only very well equipped with, technical information, but also they had the conscience to do the right thing. And this gives me lots of hope. It's a big privilege for us to shed light this way, and it's a great social responsibility as well. Thank you very much. Some of us are here, some are viewing us online, but I'd like to thank our teams as well, especially Suat Bey, Ceren Hanım, Simge Hanım, Main Hanım, and Elif Hanım, because what you mentioned earlier, uh, succeeding together, is something that we feel out there in the field as well as in academia. And Hakan Bey, I know that you keep updating your knowledge and you work in the field regularly, go to different continents, you visit Silicon Valley, Eastern Europe, Far East, you listen to at least 10 ventures each month, and you try to look for new possibilities, and your mind works really rapidly, and it's all about making what was impossible possible, rendering impossible things possible. And sometimes in the organization or in the system, the pace, the agility is not at the desired level. So how do you manage this process when you want to move much faster? Well, it's like this. My background in education and my responsibilities in the bank all require me to call myself rather an entrepreneur. I feel closer to being an entrepreneur, and one of my dreams was to leave the bank and start my own venture, but this was not possible since I became the general manager of the bank. Uh, the concept of venture capital and venture capital investment funds needed to be identified in the bank, and they needed to multiply it so that we could reach through many, many channels uh, fund transfer possibilities that would make it possible to scan all ventures and find who is cooperating with universities, who has a chief science officer, and invest in those ventures, become their client, and enable them to help with the turnover of the clients, the green transformation with their green transformation and their digital transformation, make projects for these transformations and originations, and as this transformation is taking place, create funding for this. This would be a new way of banking, and the banking industry needed to adopt to the rapid venture system. So the bank would also need to transform so that the paces of these two different organizations would align. So we started to start our venture departments in banking. This all shows the following. Well, we are in our centenary this year. Although our organization is 100 years old, it doesn't have to be old. It's an organization that has centuries experience. It's still a young, dynamic, and transformative organization. And what matters here more than anything else is the people that you work with. With the people, that you collaborate with, if you're able to manage the transformation, then all those years left behind by the organization will turn into an advantage for you. And I feel this agility in İş Bankası today. Sinan came to me with this science workshops idea, and you thanked him earlier, and I'd like to thank him too. Sinan and I go way back in time. We were working 15 years before that already. Our roots had collided, and we had built a project together in the field of technology. And when he came with this project idea, I said, "That's perfect. Let's do it now. We will tell Suat, and next month we will get a decision made by the management board, and the next month it will begin." He said, "What are you talking about? This is not İş Bankası. Did I come to the wrong bank? Is it really going to work as fast as you said? If İş Bank is what I think it is, we cannot start in no less than 2 years." And I said, "No, things are not like that. We are rather fast." He said, "I'm noting this down. I will just pencil it up. I'll check and see what happens." And surprisingly enough, in 2 months, we were already out there in the field doing the project, practicing it already. So how these decisions are made and how these processes begin uh, is a subject that has many examples in İş Bankası, and bigger organizations are not as slow as people think they are, and they're able to adopt to the venture world, and the turnover is rather fast. I agree, and I also have witnessed the same thing. The 3-year protocol was signed in a really rapid fashion, and all the processes were complete. Now I come up with another.
Can we see the ones who would like to be entrepreneurs in the hall? Please raise hands. So it's like 30 to 40% of the participants here, almost half of them. When I think this is very important, being an entrepreneur, the frequency of this has increased a lot recently. We hear a lot about it. But more importantly, perhaps we need to have an entrepreneurial spirit. You could be a general manager, an academician, an artist. So, whatever you are, you can just increase your personal impact and influence. And I can guarantee you that 40% of people here will not be entrepreneurs. You can work on the data, but if you feel that really, if you really would like to be an entrepreneur, you can just keep that spirit alive and be able to come up with numerous opportunities in life. So, dear Mehmet, let me continue with you. I mean, we talk about this together very frequently, and I know a lot about your life story. So you were raised as a boy in a family, I mean, of officers and as in a double-winged raising. And we're talking about a company managing the 15% of the global energy. And it's one of the greatest energy organizations in Turkey and in the world. So I would like to hear it from your own mouth. What does it really mean for you to be raised in a family like that? Well, I am the son of two academicians who worked for public universities, and together with the academy and the private institutions, the overlap between the public and private industries. This is my main focus area now because we are talking about a value which is produced in the academy, and the business world can benefit from that academic knowledge, and how we can continue this collaborative relationships. Personally, I'm working a lot and thinking a lot in these areas. Of course, in the present situation we are in, talking about the unity or collaboration between the business world and the academy, well, we have a much greater overlap between the two. In the past, when we talked about being independent and being able to contribute to the societies you are living in, then people would just decide to be academicians. And those who were seeking wealth and material gains in life wanted to be part of the business world. But now the overlap between the two is much stronger. As Mehmet Toner has said, MIT has like 4,000 undergraduates. And am I right? Yeah. And we are talking about billions of dollars in terms of value initiated by these MIT graduates. And this is a very good example, a very good double winged example. And you really need to work very hard to be able to do that. And as our master has said several times, you need to be a very able person in terms of knowing self and knowing how. You need to be knowledgeable in many areas. We are talking about different overlaps between the business world and the academy. You can come up with values which have not been considered or thought by anybody else. It's not enough for us to be smart and to be knowledgeable. I mean, as the football player Ronaldo has said, I am a football player, perhaps, but I'm not the most talented football player. And this is a very good example, a very good disclosure. So we're talking about the football player who has scored the greatest numbers, and his personal value is like $600 billion. As someone who has passed through such achievements and who has been able to look at these things, let me share once again that these are very important values. Well, thank you very much. We are talking about role models and this double winged concept. Sometimes we observe our parents and our mothers and fathers. Sometimes we take our teachers as our role models. And I had referred to Yüksel in the morning, but if we keep on thinking of such individuals, Ataturk and Yunus Emre are other persons who set very good role models and good examples to every one of us. So it's very valuable to look at people who have changed the course of history. So this is the last question. Let us start with you now. So you received an education in the field of economy and mathematics. Perhaps there are young people in the hall who would like to follow a similar route in their lives as you did. And they are here because we share the same dream. They are candidates of this double winged concept. What things would you share with them? There is a must I perceive, and I mean, I would like to share this with you, and I will be very happy if I will be able to deliver this to you. Of course, we have been raised in a much different environment when we were younger. In our younger days, it was rather challenging for us to access to information and knowledge. But and the most important problem I had at the time was that I didn't have a mentor who could pave the way for me, who could show me the right way. And we wanted to be doctors and engineers. And unfortunately, when we were making our decisions, we took the newspapers as our reference. And no, I mean, depending on the popular occupations at the time, we've decided to be like those people around us. And of course, we took the university exams, and our grades played an important role. in our choice of professions. Sometimes there were popular TV series which encouraged us to seek certain professions. So we have had different experiences, but then we didn't have mentors who could show us the right way. Yesterday, I had a lunch with Mehmet Toner, and I really got inspired by him. And during that lunch, perhaps the messages I internalized thanks to my talk with Mehmet Toner, well, they were really very valuable. Um so my request from you is that in this double-winged environment of YGA will be very important for you. Even during the break you will have in a minute, please feel free to build that relationship with people around you. Uh, that kind of networking is important, and you will have unexpected doors being opened in your life. And you might be successful or unsuccessful in your life. This is very much like sinusoidal forcing in your life. And people around you will assist you in unexpected ways. Thank you. Last year, during the summit, when we were launching these science sets, I had explained why I got interested in software. And when my mother was working for a bank, and you said you wanted to make life easier for your mother, so that decided to be a software engineer. So you are working for Ishbank now. What would your recommendation be for these young people in the hall with us now? Well, first of all, I think during high school and university years, you need to read a lot. You need to read profusely because this is a period of time when you are not expected to make final decisions, but you should be able to confuse your minds as much as possible. Before reaching a certain destination in your life, you should be furnished with a great amount of knowledge, and it's good for you to have confusion in your minds, so that that means you should be confronted with limitless options in front of you. This is what is healthy. And looking at my life retrospectively and remembering my younger days, there are some important dynamics and milestones. If I'm able to stand as Hakan Aran in front of you, I think of like influential books that I read during those years. Reading books is something very special. I mean, you read one book and you like it, and then you move on to another book, and you might come up with a book which could be boring for you, and then you just stop reading for a certain time. But then, if it's really a book you're interested in, then you leave everything and you get yourselves involved in reading. So, with this opportunity on hand, let me remember dear Doğan Cüceloğlu, because his book titled The Child, Our Inner Child, İçimizdeki Çocuk, translated into English as Our Inner Child by Doğan Cüceloğlu, that had really sparked a great interest and excitement in me. And I've read all his other books later on, but Our Inner Child was his first book that I read. And other than reading, philosophy is very important. No matter what professions you might be interested in, you need to know the underlying philosophy in your profession, so that you will be able to know the real purpose in those respective professions you have chosen or you will be choosing. And in the area of philosophy, Sophie's World was a very inspiring book You can read it. So if you want to love philosophy, you can start with Sophie's World, which is a great title indeed. And again, during my younger years, I questioned uh, our existence and the purpose of our lives very frequently. And Viktor Frankl's In Search of Meaning has really opened great dimensions in my mind. And he says, don't look for a meaning in your lives, create that meaning. So that allowed me to allocate my energy in my life to create my own meaning and my own purpose in my life. So Viktor Frankl's In Search of Meaning is a great book which would encourage you to act in that way. And when you are making a list, it's not reasonable to make that list longer and include more than 3 items, because when I'm asking my colleagues, I would like to hear 3 items at most. So if those 3 items will be enough, then that's okay. But if someone would come up and present me a list of 10 items, like what they would like to achieve in their lives, those 10 items do not look realistic to me. You need to be focusing on 3 items only in whatever list we're talking about, because that would be able to narrow down your energy and you would be able to act in a more influential manners. And lastly, when you ask a question, I didn't know what kind of answers I would be providing you, because it's a dynamic process for me. Stephen Cobain has this title, which is like the 7 habits of the most influential people. And we really need to be able to focus on our area of influence and be able to narrow things down for ourselves and for people around us. Well, thank you very much. I know that the times have changed and we have new generations, the Z generation, and I can just observe those changes. You could look at the shorter versions. You can listen to them on Storytel, or you can just use ChatGPT. But please read. Reading books is very important. And let me open one more window. It's not important to read books only. It's equally important to be able to read ourselves as well. So I would like to thank our panelists, and hopefully in 2025, we will be able to reach out to those 750 students as part of our project, which had been rolled out after the earthquake. We have started this in many provinces, and we are really willing to widen this to the 80 provinces in Turkey. We have great belief in this, and we hope that this project will grow in a healthy way. It was a great pleasure to have you here. Thank you.